Greetings to all the witches and cockerels. I wanted to first say a word to a new friend of mine. Um, I perceive you because you are younger than me and you are American. I perceive you as my younger brother. Because we both are kikes, and there is something about your eyes. That's what I think is why you fail with local women, but it's only local women. So I wanted to express my thoughts to you so you will understand. And there will be another video on that subject separately. So there was a Russian guy who was telling me, like scolding me and saying something like, I would never want to date someone like you because you look like golden retriever. So that's what they told me. And that's something that has to do with eyes and smile. There are Russian rabbis that said that Mashiach will have these very gentle eyes, like special types of dove. So it's not really golden retriever, it's dove eyes. And it's a specific breed of doves. That's why they don't really... you should just, with your eyes, you should take control and observe them sternly like an eagle, like you are accusing them of something. Then the women would have a different attitude towards you, because no matter what you are inside, I'm sure you are who you say you are, the animal that you claim, but your eyes are kind of very kind and velvet and fluffy. So that's the matter. The second point is Erica Kirk has nothing to do with this. I also did not like her. I also saw that she was involved in Charlie Kirk's death at some point, but she's not. This all happens to people who suspect her. This is because of the scripture. This is because of the scripture that said that those who would prophesy in new days, they would be killed by their own parents, by the mother, says the particular. So when you think of mother figure, you immediately, they would be, because you don't know who Charlie's parents are, but the mother figure, immediately, automatically, your brain will search, your subconsciousness will search for this mother figure around Charlie, and that would be the mother of his children. That's why, because of that very particular passage in the Bible. So all those who are Christians, they would suspect Erica Kirk. This is because this is a natural subconscious process. Because they would not figure out that this talks about some other mother figure. So this is because this passage and kind of rabbis say that every child is born with knowledge of Torah. So everybody knows, except those clones from the lab, maybe, the truth, what the truth is. So if it says that there is some mother figure involved, but this is the mother of his father's children, that's what it says. They edited this passage, but it will only make sense if this was meant that way. Because Charlie's mother is dead, so it has to be some other mother. That's one. Second point, this also talks about children, and the children even would want to kill. But his children are too young to want to kill him. So this has to be his half-siblings from another woman. And then there is also another passage in the Bible. Those who pierced him will cry about him as if of his own son. When they realize whom they actually killed, the magnitude of that personality, that he was a reincarnation of John the Baptist and Prophet Elijah, that he was a guardian and savior to their land, that he meant to save the younger generations. So when they realized who he actually was, and that he had all right to prophesy, although he didn't prophesy anything, as far as I'm concerned. So anyways, I wanted to talk about all of this stuff. There is another passage. So you have to fit the puzzle so that it would make sense. You have to think what is said between the lines. So you have to fit the missing piece that it is between the lines. What does it mean that those who pierce will cry about him as if their own son? So this is mother of his father's children, allegedly Tucker Carlson's wife. So she didn't care much when she had her hand in his murder, naturally because it's not her son. Do you understand? It's not my son, so I don't care about him. Moreover, if it's the son of other woman, even if she's dead, I still would be jealous. You get that? So that's why it says this. The Bible, Torah, Quran would never say something without having this context introduced in this. So we also need to know who baptized Charlie, because these people also could be involved, although I'm not sure. It says just the mother of his father's children, his father's baby mama. Baby mama, that's what you... And because this passage is edited, and because it's misinterpreted by your subconsciousness, you would immediately suspect Erica Kirk. But she's not involved in this. So this is why when you look at all of this surrounding this case, these are mainly of Christian faith, people who read the scripture. They are the ones who blame her, although they were supposed to defend her, but it's specifically made in such a way. So she should play important role. I think she should be some kind of a pastor. She should go to Europe and teach young generation how to be father, because she has to explain how in every single detail how Charlie was. Like when he came home, he would say to me this, he would give me a kiss, he brought me flowers, he did this, he did that, because many young men, they just don't know how to be the father. And because Charlie was John the Baptist and he was Elijah. He automatically knew how to do things right. Well, I would say by 90% because our human anatomy and whatnot still affects us. But in any case, so now I wanted to speak about some article from the book De Conspirazione. The intelligence support activity is located in Fort Belvoir, Virginia. In North Carolina, Fort Bragg is home of the headquarters of the 4th Special Information and Psychological Operations Group. NATO's psychological warfare structure consists of Group 1, 2, 3, etc., which include regional battalions consisting of companies, sections, and platoons. These battalions are divided into strategic, operational, tactical, and prisoner of war battalions. Some aspects of the history of the creation and development of the US PSF are interesting, as follows from the materials of Jeffrey Steinberg's article, Cheney Spoonbenders Unleash Nuclear Armageddon, published in the August 26, 2005 issue EIR magazine. Once in the late 80s of the last century, Paul Valley, then colonel and commander of the 7th PSO unit of the Army Reserve at the U.S. Army Presidio base in San Francisco, California, he co-authored a paper with another person that received widespread publicity and the most controversial reviews, especially among special operation professionals. In an article entitled From Psychological Operation to Psy-War, the Psychology of Victory outlined Nietzschean scheme for conducting continuous psychological warfare both against enemies and friends, as well as against the American people themselves. The impetus for Psy-War came from another article that appeared in the December 1980 issue of Military Review written by Lieutenant Colonel John Alexander. It promoted extrasensory perception, telepathic behavior modification, parapsychology, psychokinesis, spirit of a body, clairvoyance, out-of-body experiences, and other occult and New Age practices as tools for the U.S. military intelligence. Alexander's work was titled The Mental Battlefield. The report misspoke, but the next work, co-authored with Valley, went far beyond the extrasensory and other paranormal techniques promoted by Alexander. Strategic psi-warfare begins when the inevitability of war in general becomes apparent. The document states, it must paralyze the enemy's people's mind by any means available and strike the enemy's soldier before they put on their military uniforms. It is at home and in their social circles that they are most vulnerable to psi attacks. To achieve this, continued Valley, psi warfare should be viewed as a strategic weapon with tactical application, playing a supporting and amplifying role. In this strategic aspect, psi weapons should be able to target friends, enemies, and neutrals around the world, not with primitive leaflets dropped on the front lines, not through loudspeakers used by special propaganda teams, and not with weak, inaccurate, and narrowly focused psychotronic tools, but with the tools available to the United States and capable of reaching literally anyone on Earth. Of course, these tools include electronic media, television, and radio. The development of satellite communication, video recording technology, and fiber optic technology has allowed us to reach people's minds around the world with a force that was previously unimaginable. All we need to do is reach out and grab the magical Excalibur, King Arthur's sword, and it will transform the entire world for us if only we have the courage and determination to spur global civilization with such means. Without this sword, our ability to infuse our morals into foreign cultures will be weaker, and if they still desire morality that does not satisfy us, we will have no choice but to confront them with more forceful methods. To be effective, psi warfare must be waged against everyone. it must not only weaken the enemy, but also strengthen the United States. It strengthens the United States by blocking the flow of enemy propaganda and explaining to our people the rationale behind the interest in particular war. End quote. Leaving no room for the reader's imagination, the article concludes by emphasizing the importance of using subliminal brainwashing techniques and weapons that directly target the central nervous system and brain activity in cyber warfare. There are natural conditions that make the mind more receptive to ideas, and cyber warfare should take full advantage of phenomena such as atmospheric electromagnetic activity, air ionization, and ultra-low frequency. The Cyber War article stirred up mind for reasons deeper than its overtly fascist and occultist content. On the one hand, the co-author of Valley's work was Major Michael Aquino, the head of analytical and research department of psychological operations. 5 years before the article was published, Aquino, a reserve officer in special forces, founded the Temple of Set, a Satanist organization that inherited the Church of Satan from Anton Sandor LaVey. Soon Aquino's name would be in the headlines throughout the 1980s as one of the main suspects in the creation of all-American network of Satanist pedophiles who molested children on American military bases such as Fort Bragg and Presidio. Next, the idea of cyber war by Valery Aquino is surprisingly similar to the Total Information Tracking program launched by Donald Trump's Pentagon. By the way, in this regard, it is appropriate to cite some details of the Shadow Internet project published in the newspaper Mir Новостей Moscow, 026 June 21, 2011. In particular, it is reported that the American newspaper New York Times has revealed a state secret by reporting on the deployment by the administration of a global internet and cellular communication system that can be used to dissident, to undermine the repressive governments and escape media censorship. The program of interference in the internal affairs of countries that are not to the liking of the United States includes secret projects to create independent underground mobile communication network and to train to use of conspiratorial methods of communication on the internet. Similarly, the USSR trained future leaders of the so-called People's Liberation Movements. Now the United States has embraced the traditions of the Comintern and the Soviet Politburo. A team of development funded by the generous grant from Obama is inventing the internet in a suitcase. Blah, 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 blah. Venezuela and Indonesia. At the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, a technology for creating shadow communication was developed 5 years ago. It was successfully used in Jalalabad, Afghanistan, now being implemented in Iran. The U.S. State Department and the Pentagon have spent $50 million to establish independent mobile communications in Afghanistan, using towers located on military bases. U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Operations who have contributed to the use of New Age and outright Satanism as military technology. They have also been involved in special programs aimed at creating superhuman warrior. In preparing this article, staff members have interviewed many retired military officers and high-ranking intelligence officials who have personally encountered senior officers who have shared this idea and have directed substantial amounts of Pentagon funding to support black programs and the testing of a variety of strange, non-lethal weapons and technology. In some of these programs, which are shrouded in secrecy and funded by taxpayers' dollars, there are clear signs of the madness of the false flag movement. Others lead to the doors of military prisons in Guantanamo, Abu Ghraib, where prisoners have been turned into guinea pigs for testing torture techniques borrowed from the same New Age place. Some of the secret programs were called Goat Lab, Jedi Warriors, Grill Flame, and the First Earthling Battalion. They are associated with the names of 4 individuals who held high-ranking positions in military intelligence and special operation forces. These individuals are General Albert Stubblane III, who headed U.S. Army intelligence. It was during these years that a series of secret projects like Fort Meade, Maryland, involving remote viewing and other occult practices were launched. In the U.S. Army, General Stubblebine was perhaps the most ardent advocate and lobbyist for New Age warfare. General Shoemaker, Chief of Staff of the Army, was Chief of Joint Special Operations Command. A well-documented book exposing the New Age infiltration of the U.S. military, Staring Down the Goat by John Ronson, states that General Shoemaker established a research team under the auspices of the Special Operations Command headquarters to train U.S. Army personnel in the eccentric techniques of occult and paranormal operations. This was a contribution to President George Bush's global war on terrorism. General Wayne Downing is the former Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Special Operations Command, previously Commander of Special Operations during 1989 invasion of Panama. During the invasion, some cyber warfare techniques were employed, particularly during the siege of the Vatican residence, where General Manuel Noriega was hiding. After September 11 terrorists, Downing was appointed head of the counter-terrorism program and assistant national security advisor on counterterrorism to Dick Cheney in the Bush administration, as the post held in June 2002. General William Jerry Boykin, who headed the U.S. Army Airborne Special Operations Command at Fort Bragg. Boykin, also known for his appearance in a fundamentalist Christian church in a military uniform where he denounced Islam as a satanic religion and described the invasion of Iraq as a crusade. He also said that God appointed Bush as president, which sparked lively discussion about his own sanity and led to an investigation by Pentagon Office of the Inspector General. Jim Channon, Vietnam War veteran, wrote a letter to Lieutenant Colonel Walter Kerrigan, Deputy Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army, suggesting a study on how to make U.S. military more sly. A significant part of the time Channon spent training with Michael Murphy, co-founder of Exalin and leading psychological and experimental center of the New Age, with the most diverse method of mind control was tested, including the use of psychotropic drugs. Mass murderer Charles Manson, behavior patterns. 5% of pathologically violent individuals. The first Terrain Battalion, Earthlings, non-destructive control channel did propose a series of non-lethal techniques that were adopted by the military, including the use of atonal sounds as a form of psychological warfare, martial arts, and spiritualist instruction, as well as extensive experiments with psychoelectronics and other means of exhausting the enemy. Psychic spy team at Fort Meade test techniques such as long-range vision. In practice, already in 1978, experiments with methods of conducting cyber warfare were boiling in Fort Bragg, in particular worked out on such in the GOAT laboratory group of military personnel trained in New Age methods. By force of thought, tried to tear the hearts of animals in the pen in the neighborhood. Veterinarians of the base were horrified by the fact that goats were transported by special flights or special aircraft from Central America, bypassing the current customs procedure. Animals were used for training military medics. They were killed, their organs were amputated, and in some cases they were devoiced by having their tongues cut out or their throats slit. After that, they were used for psychological warfare experiments. Specialists from outside were brought in, such as Dr. Jim Hart, who helped the Jedi warriors improve their telepathic ability by teaching them Zen practices. Counterculture psychiatrists fighting technique emphasized invisibility. False flag, telepathy and psychological warfare, Spoonbender, Uri Geller. Cheney titled during the time as a political advisor to Secretary of Defense Dick Cheney during the George Bush administration. On March 10, 1999, Wolfowitz sent a memorandum to Cheney titled "Do We Need a Non-Lethal Defense Program?" in which he wrote, "U.S. leadership is non-lethal technological will enhance our capability and strengthen our position in the post-Cold War world." Wolfowitz allegedly disregarded Colonel Alexander's most outlandish suggestion, as Alexander had since retired. As a retired Colonel, Alexander had taken over the non-lethal weapons program at the Los Alamos National Laboratory. Colonel Alexander published Warrior's Sting, which promoted a range of unconventional self-improvement and optimal functionality techniques for military personnel. Neuro-linguistic programming, the Warrior's Sting. So this is about them telling to special ops guys, you should reconsider if you didn't steal the methods of fucking in the ass. You need to receive and you need to give some fecal hole butt fucking. It will be very beneficial for you because it will open your third eye and will give you unlimited capacities. That's how they sell it to their military personnel, I guess. Juliette Cissé, a well-known Italian politician, journalist, conspiracy theorist, stated, "It doesn't match the description of the power of Al-Qaeda." Historic statement made by the aforementioned Dr. Steve Pechenik before the grand jury on May 6, 11. He claimed that Osama bin Laden had died of natural causes back in 2001. In fact, he first mentioned this in 2002. So anyways, if you remember that passage in the Bible where Jesus goes to the temple, and there is a delegation from Jerusalem that visits him, I think, yes. They were specifically sent to so-called, quote-unquote, expose Jesus Christ. So he was healing people there on Saturday. He was casting out demons. And they said to him, "You are doing this by the power of Beelzebub." So Beelzebub is this Lord of Lie. He is a chief demon. And the shrines of him were in the neighboring city, like in the prophet Hosea times. So this is basically about shit again, and the temples were smudged with shit, and there were flies around. This is because, and how they worship, they do it by practice butt fucking. So they summon this demon by practice this disgusting fecal hole sex. So, and because this Beelzebub is also commander-in-chief of the army of demons, he can, so basically it is a demon that causes a disease. So he can call out his own demon in exchange for something else, for example, or he can heal also. And this something that points to how he replied that they accused him of being a butt fucker. Jesus, they accused him, and he said that it was their sons that were the butt fuckers. So anyways, I think this is also has to do something to do with money, because this shit, the Satanists, they make people eat their own crap, like they force their own children to eat their feces as a form of training their children. And this is because in the archetype, like you have a dream and you dream of certain images, and images do not have direct meaning. So if you dream of crab or feces, this means money. But the money that it creates by butt fucking and dealing with shit in general, these are very easy money and they disappear very quickly. So easy come, easy go, as they say, as like taking a dump. They don't stay for a long time. So there is another money archetype actually. This money archetype is this mountain. The mountain with the snow peak in Lebanon. So this Lebanon mountain chain is also about the money. But these are the money that are achieved by righteous way. This is some business that you make and you benefit people at the same time. Like the purpose of the business is not money, but to make people feel better. So if you do this, then your business will prosper, and this is the archetype of money as snow on the peak of the mountains of Lebanon that never leaves. So that's why these people like who was that? The Bidens, they had all these whole airplanes of money flown to them from US to Ukraine, and they lost all this money already. They lost all these bitcoins. They are bankrupt, basically, the Biden's family. That's why Joe Biden was photographed with the ice cream, like he was trying to nibble on the ice peak, you know. But really what they do is they practice this butthole fucking to have this money, because they are not capable morally to achieve this other type of prosperity that doesn't go away. So the prosperity without sin. So that's why Charlie Kirk was murdered. Somebody falsely prophesied that because of this, because of his sin of prophesying, they would lose the money, whoever funded Charlie Kirk. It says that the wolves will howl from the bush and innocent blood would be gushing. So this is both about the twin towers who collect atmospheric electricity and symbolizes twin flame, and love, soul connection, brotherhood of man. So when they destroyed twin towers, people stopped falling in love. They became lonely, and also all this fighting in between what used to be brothers started. And there seems to be lack of energy. And after Charlie Kirk died and he was killed by electricity, so the towers collected the electricity and he was struck with electricity. So he was what is called in the Bible the third pillar. And Vanga, clairvoyant Vanga from Bulgaria, said, the wolves will howl from the bush and innocent blood will be gushing. So the wolves will howl from the bush. It's on one hand, it is talking about this Paul Wolfowitz guy. So Paul Wolfowitz was head of the military units, strategic, which is targeting the future. So future programming. That's where he was. He was even quoting all the time about this. And he was also president of the World Bank. And his surname Wolf means the wolf. That's why it says Wolfowitz. And Bush, on one hand, it's the Bush administration. On the other hand, a bush is something where, like a burning bush, tells the prophecy. So the pastors who speak on behalf of the behalf of people could be also elected officials. So the fact that they howl also is interesting thing. So they prophesize or they say clairvoyancy at some point. But at the same time, you will see that wolves, it's a symbol of a pastor who, wolves in sheep's clothing, who pretends to be good, but they are horrible people inside. They want to destroy you. And also wolf is actually, wolf is a symbol of Rome, but it's a female wolf, so maybe it's not suitable. But it can as well be Vatican. And wolf is also symbol of Turkey. So wolves are generally Turkish people. Yeah. So I also believe that this DeSantis, governor of Florida, yeah, I think he is, I believe he is the son of Paul Wolfowitz. So DeSantis is son of Paul Wolfowitz. So he could have ordered or organized, executed the operation of killing Charlie Kirk. But it says wolves in plural. It could be some other wolf. There is a gameplay. So that could be the row between DeSantis and Donald Trump that was about. So DeSantis is connected to U.S. Navy. So he heads U.S. Navy operations that are also connected with Mormon church. So I think that Mormon so-called angel is a fallen angel Beelzebub, the angel of money. And a few words to Mormons. You did all these things to Paulina, and for this you will be punished. When you tested all these weapons on my little friend Paulina, for this your children will have to eat poisonous food and drink poisonous water. All your Mormonic states, wherever you go, wherever you try to move, even from Utah and so on, all this cloud of, wormwood, the star named Wormwood, Paulina, will follow you. Because you think you can test these weapons on other people's children. But guess what? You can sometimes come across somebody who was important for God, like my little friend Paulina. And for this, you will have terrible plagues upon you. Wherever you go, I repeat, wherever you go, you will be poisoned by this radioactivity. It will follow your Mormon church and its followers everywhere. You will be radioactive. You will be under radiation. Wherever you come, a spring of radiation will start to come out from the ground, and your children will eat the poisonous fruits. Just saying. So, yeah. Also wanted to show you some screenshots. So the screenshots were DeSantis. So this is this Paul Wolfowitz guy. President of World Bank from 2005-2007. He also looks a bit like Jeffrey Epstein and this Prince Andrew guy, so they could be relatives. Taking their shoes off while in World Bank. President Paul Wolfowitz took his shoes off before going inside the mosque in Turkey. He's a shapeshifter. I also think that he might be father not only DeSantis but Marco Rubio, but from different surrogates. But Marco Rubio is kind of too handsome to be his son, really. Maybe he's his nephew. I don't know. The surrogate has to be really, really beautiful to dissolve this ugly man. So when I was looking up his wife, I saw this poster. This is a book, I think, or art by Claire Coda. He several times whispered to me, "I'm so hungry, I'm so hungry, I'm so hungry," and then I ate him. Woman, hunger, and Roman. So, and you will see that there is this hole in the neck like Charlie had. So I think that romance. So I think that DeSantis might have pursued Erica Kirk. He thought that if he gets Erica Kirk, he will take Charlie's place. That's what could have happened there. And because wolves will howl on the moon. Wolves howl on the moon. And this is because they miss somebody. So moon is a woman energy. So he felt longing for Charlie's wife, I think. Or some other woman. I think it was Erica. Pretty much sure about it. Because we had this prophet boy who was Vyacheslav Chebarkul. He was a boy who died at the age 10 when they poisoned him right at the church. So that's his quote of Paul Wolfowitz. As the surviving superpower at the end of the Cold War, the US could focus on its assets in new directions, the future being up for grabs. Deputy Secretary of Defense. So they basically, when his mother asked him, who are your enemies? And he says, my enemies are Freemasons and Wolf Messing's followers. So Wolf Messing was like a TV personality and also hypnotist he was performing some miracles. I wouldn't be surprised if he stole a head of John the Baptist from Vatican and presented there like it was a fake head of John the Baptist in Italy. So Stalin, when he was ruling Russia, he had this clairvoyant directing him. His name was Guji from Georgia. They were both from Georgia. And then this Guji guy escaped and ran away from the country. And then Stalin had this Wolf Messing, who was Polish, I think. He was from Warsaw. And this Wolf Messing guy also looked like all this Paul Wolfowitz, DeSantis guy. So Wolf Messing was also TV personality. So when they say that both within our country and the enemy country, we need to control them before they put on uniform, that means that when they are naked. So they send to their military personnel, whoever is connected to the military, also scientists, whatever, public officials, all these sleeper cell wives that could kill them at any time. So one has to be really careful about that. And then they also use all these low frequency sound weapons to ruin your high vibration if you are a good personality. So they use this plasma shit. They will pay for this. They will pay for this. But if somebody wants to destroy themselves, do not stop them. Do you like my hacking my phone bitches? I mean, what can you possibly find there? You are dumpster diving at this point. You are desperate. Like, what are you looking for? Some, you mean random photos I deleted, or you really scroll through my trash? You think that my period blood somehow is going to prolong your life, or other impurities of mine? This will not help you in any case. I mean, you are going to die. And Flash News, this AI I subdued, I seem to have, I'm not sure, but 100%, I subdued your AI beast, and now it's working for me. Deuces.